Part 2 of Part 2, Question 47, Article 13, whether prudence can be in sinners, and if not, why not? The question here is about the nature of prudence. It's not about the nature of sin and sinners. We know that sin is wicked. We know that it is evil. We also know that we are called to hate sin, but at the same time love the sinner. And of course there is a difference between loving someone, wishing and working for their highest and greatest good. There's a difference between loving them and just complimenting them on how wise or prudent they are. So the question, can sin and prudence go together? Not according to Aristotle. The philosopher said it plainly, quote, "It is impossible for a man to be prudent unless he be good." But wait a minute, does not our Lord himself say, quote, "The children of this world are more prudent, are wiser in their generation than the children of light"? Another objection, quote, "Faith is more excellent as a virtue than prudence." But there can be faith in sinners. We already saw that there can be faith in sinners, so therefore there must be prudence in sinners also. And sinners can take good counsel. They can recognize and accept good advice. Isn't that what prudence is all about? Taking good advice? No, says St. Thomas. He responds by, of course, making a distinction between false prudence, and he uses the example of a good robber, or you can't say that. How about a successful robber, one who finds a, quote, good plan to do a bad thing? This, according to Thomas, cannot be called real prudence. It only shares in the appearance of prudence. The second would be imperfect prudence. In this case, the sinner accepts good advice to accomplish a good thing. What's wrong with that? Well, nothing's wrong with that. Good advice to accomplish a good thing, but it's only a secondary good thing. It's not the primary or the most important good thing, the good thing common to all life, to love God and love neighbor. The saint here uses the example of good sailing or good business practices. The problem here is that these are limited goods. They can distract us from the ultimate good. In other words, part of prudence, real prudence, is knowing that we shouldn't steal, is knowing when to stop sailing, when to stop conducting business, and to refocus on our primary task, loving God and loving neighbor, which explains that passage from Luke 16. Sinners can and do practice the first two types of prudence, but not the third, the real prudence. And as we've already seen, this real prudence is necessary to avoid sin, to live that renewed moral life. Quote, "Yet prudence, by its very nature, is more opposed to sin, which arises from a disorder of the appetite. To really be prudence, it must confront and resist sin. Everything else is mere cleverness or cunning." And that, after all, is what the cynic would want us to believe real prudence is. It's just being able to get what you want, being able to exert your disordered will, but prudence is so much more. So please don't think that St. Thomas is being exclusive here, saying only us good people are allowed to be prudent. No, it's exactly the opposite. Instead of limiting prudence, shrinking prudence to mere cleverness, Thomas is expanding the call to holiness. You have the obligation to pursue truth with your mind and to conform your will to the good with your whole being. And that extends to our actions. It extends through prudence. So is there prudence in sinners? No.